Hey guys, want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk Postgame Show. Haven't done a postgame show in over a week. I was just kind of reflecting. Haven't done a podcast with you guys since last Saturday. So Pistons had 6 days off. I had 6 days off because I wasn't doing postgame shows for you guys. But we'll get into tonight's game. Pistons versus Hawks. I feel like we've played the Hawks like what 15 times already. There have been so many weird scheduling things. I think we have to play them one more time, but I don't know when that's going to be. I don't have the schedule pulled up in front of me. But let's get into today's post game show, go over the box score, and then open up the show to any questions, comments, overall thoughts with tonight's game. So Pistons looked very well rested in this one in the first quarter. It was back and forth. Both teams were just exchanging baskets. Believe it or not, if you're looking at the final score, just in the first quarter, there were 13 lead changes. Um, uh, Hawks scored, Pistons scored. You guys kind of get it. There was a lot of hustle plays by Ron Holland in this first quarter. He had 6 points. He was just an energizer again off the bench for the Pistons. He seems like he's getting back to where he left off last season. I know he had a little bit of a slump, little, sophomore slump, hit a wall a little bit, but he's figuring out how to be effective and score the basketball. So happy for Ron there. And Caden Duran were very active in the first quarter as well. Both had 7 points. Pistons did have a 1 point lead, 34-33, believe it or not, to end the first quarter. In the second, the Pistons opened up on an 11-3 run. Stewart and Ron were just connecting with each other, finding each other for baskets. Ron was finding Stu for uh, easy dunks. Ron was getting to the cup. The one thing with this game tonight, when I was watching the Hawks, it's like it felt like it was a layup line for the Pistons. Like anytime there were just cuts to the basket, none of the Hawks were even remotely going to try to guard the paint. I mean, you can look at points of the paint. The Pistons dominated this one. Half of their points came in the painted area. And that's kind of been a theme with this team. Donis Jenkins brought some really good minutes off the bench when Cade was getting some rest out there. And, the Pistons did have a 15-point lead at one point. Obviously, Atlanta kind of dwindled that. They were hitting their threes, but they were able to settle for a 9-point lead going into halftime, 69-60. Coming out of halftime, the Pistons decided to put this game away. I think the third quarter kind of decided it. They started the quarter within the first minute and a half on an 8-0 run. They were moving the ball. They didn't stay in stationary whatsoever. I mean, this was a team that was playing zone defense on them, I believe, uh, last week, or I don't even remember the last time we played the Hawks, but I know it was recently, but it was a really ugly game last time. This time out, it was just a lot of ball movement, a lot of transition, great defensive play by the Pistons. They were really forcing Atlanta into a lot of difficult shots. And the one thing I do want to pay attention to and mention on this post game podcast with you guys is so Cade Cunningham has got the ball midway through the third quarter, and Dyson Daniels is obviously defending him, Atlanta's best defender, and their arms kind of tangled a little bit initially, and then Cade tries to get into his bag, get a bucket, and he's just like rubbing his arm. He's holding his arm. They immediately sub Cade Cunningham out, and we didn't see him for the rest of the game. Now, if this game was closer, maybe Cade comes back into it, but it really wasn't. I mean, the bench unit just outscored Atlanta tonight. To end the third, it was 104-79. And just kind of going into the fourth, the Pistons' energy was just way too much for the Hawks. They just weren't really able to match the Pistons. And it's kind of funny because that's what Atlanta likes to do is play fast and play in transition. And the Pistons said, we can do that too. And they just outran the Hawks. The defense I thought was just elite tonight. Ivy played really well in, his minutes. He's still on a minute restriction, obviously, but biggest win of the season for the Pistons after 6 days off, 142-115. That is 3 straight wins against an Eastern Conference team that is, as of right now in December, they are a playoff team. And I kind of wanted to say, I told you, I did not buy the Hawks. I know there's no Trae Young. I know there's no Kristaps Porzingis, but I just don't buy the Hawks. So many people were saying, "Oh, the Hawks are going to be a top 2 seed." I just never really saw it. Obviously, Trey not being out there is huge. But they're still, I think, 14. They were 14 and 11 coming into this game. Still a playoff team. I just don't see the Hawks. Um, Never bought the hype with into them. Who knows what to do with the trading deadline? There's a lot of trade rumors about them possibly trading for Giannis, Anthony Davis. Like, who knows what they do? But Pistons have beat them in the 3 separate meetings early in this season, first 25 games of the season, and each game has been very entertaining. This one was the only blowout, but you would think that the Hawks just got back from Vegas the way that the Pistons just handled business tonight. Want to get into the box scores and the team stats, then we'll open up the show to any questions and comments and overall thoughts. So let's get to it. So let me, here we go. Hit the right button this time. I'm out of practice. It's been about a week. So if you're just kind of looking at the starters, they all played low 20s. Tobias Harris in 21 minutes tonight had 9 points, shot 4 out of 9 from the field, 1 out of 2 from 3, 3 rebounds, 3 steals. He was a +8 in this one. Duncan Robinson in 21 minutes had 15 points, 5 out of 10 from the field, 4 out of 9 from 3, perfect from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. Always good when you do have Duncan Robinson giving you at least 12 points off the bench, and he just holds so much gravity in this starting lineup, just the way he can make shots. Jalen Duren in this one, only 24 minutes played tonight. He had 14 points. He has 6 out of 10 from the field, 2 out of 4 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 block. 1 really big block, by the way. Cade Cunningham, 23 minutes, 15 points, 5 out of 10 from the field, 2 out of 3 from 3. He's starting to hit more 3-pointers. It's been a really weird year for him. Just shooting from the outside. He's kind of struggled a little bit versus last season. 50% from the free throw line. It's kind of uncharacteristic out of him. He's usually like around an 84% free throw shooter, but 3 out of 6, 1 rebound, 6 assists, only 1 turnover by Cade. Love to see that. And 2 steals and 2 blocks. He's a +8 in 23 minutes. Sar Thompson was very active. We've talked about him being more assertive, and we've seen that over the last 3 games or so. 21 minutes, he had 12 points, 5 out of 9 from the field, perfect from the free throw line, 2 out of 2, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 2 steals, 2 blocks. So Sar was a +8 in this one as well. Then you kind of just look at the bench unit. Everyone played, everyone contributed, everyone scored. Paul Reed, 5 minutes, 4 points. Isaiah Stewart in 21 minutes, 17 points. He was really crucial off the bench. 7 out of 9 from the field, 1 out of 3 from 3, perfect from the free throw line, made both of them, 5 rebounds, 5 assists by Stu in this one. It's kind of weird not seeing a block shot in the box score with Isaiah Stewart, but the Hawks really settled for a lot of difficult jump shots in this one. Ron Holland in 25 minutes, 12 points, perfect from the field, perfect from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 block. He was a +20 in this one. Him and Stu were just so crucial off this bench tonight. Javonte Green in 20 minutes had 9 points, 3 out of 7 from the field, 1 out of 5 from 3, perfect from the free throw line as well. 1 rebound, 3 steals. He's just been the perfect glue guy off the bench for the Detroit Pistons. The signing is still so under the radar because a lot of people were just like, why did we sign Javonte Green? I think you're starting to see why Trajan did sign Javonte Green. Karis LeVert, 23 minutes, 10 points, 3 out of 6 from the field, 1 out of 2 from 3, perfect from the free throw line. Had 8 assists in this one, 2 steals. Probably one of Karis's better games. One thing I've noticed when he trips, it looks like someone pushes him. And I don't know why. He stuck to the floor a couple of times. He was getting bumped by Atlanta defenders. He does wobble sometimes, and it's honestly kind of funny to see and just watch in real time. It just looks like someone's just pushing him down the stairs, and he almost falls over. It's really funny. I don't know why I get amusement out of it. Probably shouldn't though. Marcus Sasser had 7 points in 4 minutes. Excuse me. These ESPN box scores, since they updated their app, just really confused me the way it's just kind of set up. He was perfect from the field. Um, 1 out of 1 from three, 3 out of 3 from the field. 1 assist. I mean, scoring 7 points in 4 minutes is honestly kind of crazy. Jaden Ivey in 19 minutes had 10 points, 5 out of 8 from the field, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, only 1 turnover, 2 steals. I liked what I saw out of Jaden Ivey. I know there's still part of the fan base that anything he does, they're just got their arms crossed. And like I understand it, contract year, whether you don't want to pay him, whether you think that the team needs to move on. I still like Jaden Ivey. I'm still a Jaden Ivey supporter, have not sold my stock. I think it's really hard to evaluate a guy that's constantly getting subbed out because he's only been playing anywhere from 12 to 19 minutes. Looks like he's kind of upping up his, minutes per game closer to the 20-minute mark. I'm interested to see what he looks like when he's getting around 25 to 30. So good to see Jaden Ivey be productive out there. And then Dennis Jenkins had 13 minutes in this one, 8 points. It was early on in the first half that he played, and he played a little bit towards the end in the fourth quarter when the game was over. He was 50% from the field, 2 out of 4 from the field to be exact. 50% from three, 1 out of 2 from three, perfect from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. I mean, just complete domination. Everyone that did play tonight did contribute. And then I kind of just want to show the oops. I swear I'm so out of practice, you guys. I apologize. I want to show the team stats because you might be looking at the box score like, how did the Pistons score 140 points tonight? Now, they only did it with 12 threes, which is so impressive. You would have thought they made at least 20 threes. Nope, they didn't. Shot good from three. They shot 41%, but they did it at the free throw line. 24 out of 29, shot 83% from the line. Only had 40 rebounds in this one, which, was kind of surprising given the score. Assists, they were moving the ball tonight, 34 assists, 16 steals by the Pistons in this one. They had 14 total turnovers. Now, to be fair, a lot of those came in the fourth quarter because they only had 6 at one point, but they forced Atlanta into 20 turnovers and they converted on points off turnovers. The fast break, 30-7 in the fast break points, and they outscored Atlanta in the paint by 20. 72 out of 142 came in the painted area. This team just lives in the paint. They love playing in the paint. They love playing that bully ball. I'm really just pleased with the way they played. I didn't know how they were going to come out tonight, given they had a full 6 days off, which I have a take on this in-season tournament. Now, I'll be completely upfront with you guys. It has nothing to do with the games. This is my take with the in-season tournament. I don't know if the NBA is going to change it, but I think teams are purposely going to start losing in these group plays to have a full week off or 3-4 days off, right? Like the Pistons only played once this week. A lot of teams, had 5-4 days off because they got eliminated from the in-season tournament. I see a lot of teams purposely saying like, hey, let's lose this one tonight. Get some days off, get some rest. We got guys on the shelf with injury, gives us time to rehab, gives us time to clean some stuff up, have a couple of practices back to back. They talked about on the broadcast how the Pistons were able to have 2 full practices and clean a lot of stuff up, clean the turnovers up, execute, get better defensively. And I just see some teams doing that. Now, whether or not the NBA changes the scheduling with the in-season tournament, we'll have to wait and see until next year. But that's just my take on it. I mean, obviously, it's still going to be a thing where I think other teams do want to go to Vegas. There'll be players that want to get that cash prize. But, I mean, I could see a lot of, veteran teams is like, hey, like, Who cares? Like, let's take a couple days off, get our bodies right, get a little bit of rest. The Pistons have actually had like a really, I would say, gracious schedule. They've had a couple of days where they've had like 3 days off, and then they just had 6 days off. So they should be pretty well rested. They've only played 25 games this season. We're about a quarter of the way through the schedule, but um, it's good to see them get the rest, and it's good to see them come out and execute like they did tonight. Want to get into any comments and questions, overall thoughts with tonight's game. And we're going to get into this part of the podcast. So, Red Baron has the first comment of this post game podcast, and he says, "Shout out to the coaches for making sure we didn't come out flat. Look out, Boston. The Pistons are rolling again. Yeah, 3 wins in a row. Um, Pistons came out much better versus the last time they played the Hawks. If you guys remember, both Atlanta and the Pistons shot horrific. Tonight, the Pistons offense was firing on all cylinders. The bench really helped them. I felt like tonight's win against the Hawks was the best win of the season. Now, hasn't been their toughest opponent. I'm just saying from start to finish, they played the full 48. They were moving the ball. They had contributions all the way from Cade Cunningham all the way down to Dennis Jenkins, Paul Reed. That's what this team looks like when they're firing on all cylinders. Now, you'll have nights like that in the NBA, every couple of games. I don't expect the Pistons to keep having 140-point displays, but you can kind of see what happens when they're not stationary. They move the ball. The bench unit gets into it. Ron and Stu just bring that energy, and teams don't want to match that physicality and hustle. And it was great to see. And I didn't know what type of performance we were going to get tonight, given they did have all that time off. So sometimes, players come out rusty. This team looked like they haven't taken any days off, and they came out to play. And you love to see that. Have a comment from Kakashi, and he says Ivy's moving the ball so well and looks like he's getting the speed back. So, I know we did touch on Ivy a little bit. I feel like he's still getting in game shape defensively. I think defensively, I still see him grabbing quite a bit. And he wasn't grabbing too much last year. I think he's still, getting into shape. That's why he's on a minute restriction. But he did move the ball well. He was having hustle plays. There was a play defensively to end the third quarter where he threw the ball off a Hawks player, and the Pistons got the ball back. He assisted on a few plays. I still feel like, we haven't really seen him in a, 100% capacity. I would say right now he's probably like maybe 70% there. I don't really think he's fully into basketball shape, into game shape. And, being in shape versus basketball shape is completely different. If you guys have played basketball at any level, whether it's in high school, collegiate, or even professionally, like being in basketball shape is really hard to do. But once you get there, you're there. And you can play into the high 30s, high 40s, and you're fine. I still think he's getting into that shape, and each game you see a little bit of flashes of his burst and his speed, which is good. Earlier in the game, he had a 3-point shot that he could have taken, and he looked to assist to, I believe, Jalen Duren or Isaiah Stewart. It was, I don't remember which one it was. But, he found his open man and got the assist instead of taking a three really early in the shot clock. So, been impressed with him so far. I don't understand how we can have 6 days off and still have a back-to-back next week. Well, you had 6 days off. That's why. You know, the in-season tournament, what they'll do a lot of times is they'll add games to the schedule if you don't make it past the group play and then the elimination rounds. So that's why back-to-backs aren't really a big deal. And kind of given the schedule that the Pistons have had, you can kind of look, it's been pretty damn easy. If I'm being completely unbiased here, I think the Pistons rank 27th in strength of schedule for the rest of the year, so they have a very easy schedule. They're not going to be playing against a lot of heavy hitters. Obviously, they have their West Coast trip coming up the week of Christmas, but overall, like I don't really think back to backs are a really big deal for this team. And given like the amount of time that they've had off, I think they'll be fine. Um, Bruce said that he likes that we cut down on the turnovers. Yeah, I mean, I think that was a thing that we talked about a lot with this team is just taking better care of the basketball. Like you can look at the box score; they had 14 turnovers tonight, but like for a majority of the game, I think in the third quarter that they only had 6. And they were executing their plays in the half court. They were executing the plays in the open court when they were trying to push the pace and transition. So there was a lot of great things that the offense did, and they took care of the basketball, which you like to see. MSU, a Detroit fan, as a comment, this was definitely a great team game, especially considering the league score only had 17 points in a game where they scored 142 points. Is crazy. It kind of just shows you the depth of this team. It shows you like when JB Bickerstaff said, preseason that this team is like 15 deep. I think a lot of Pistons fans looked at him like kind of like crazy eyed and like, is he for real right now? 15 deep. But I mean, like nights like tonight, you see it. You see like guys like a Javante Green, guys like a Ron Holland, who arguably you could say, do you have the starting lineup conversation? I mean, guys like Stu, who, it's not really known for his offense, but had 17 points tonight, right? He's starting to get more consistent on that end, but it just kind of shows the depth of this team and how they're able to play and how they're able to execute and bring energy and just do all the intangible things and pay attention to their opponent and what they like to do. And I thought they did a really good job of handling the Hawks, even though Jalen Johnson has been playing like out of his mind. I think they did a pretty good job with him, considering I believe he still had a triple double in this one, but I mean they made it difficult for him. And losing by 30 points, I doubt he cares about having a triple double in this one. But I am probably going to wrap up this podcast, you guys, because we're doing another one tomorrow. This time the podcast is going to be with Sean, who we had on last week, but we're also going to be having Eric on as well. So anytime I have those two guys on with me on a podcast, I'm just warning you now, it might go off the rails. We might get distracted. Someone's going to say something, and it's probably going to be a very fun conversation. We're going to be talking about just all the, Detroit Pistons news of the week, all the trade rumors that apparently the Pistons are in and they're not in. It's been a really weird week for just the NBA and just the Pistons in general in terms of like what rumors they're actually linked to. But should be fun. That's going to be tomorrow on Saturday at 7:30. So be on the lookout for that. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, definitely subscribe so you don't miss any of our post-game podcasts or any of the long form podcasts that we do on the weekends for you guys. But really do appreciate all of you guys tapping on in all season long, watching these post-game shows. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Take care. Have a good night. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.